Thank you all so much for joining us today. My name is Rob, and I am the Director of Events and Marketing at Power to Fly. So, very excited that you'll be spending your next 30 minutes with us here. Real quick, I just wanted to walk you through what to expect for today's event, why smartphone videos are crushing $50,000 productions, a reality check on AI. Real quick, I just wanted to share our code of conduct here on the screen. Lots here, but basically it says don't be a jerk and have a great conversation. Keep this a safe space. I do like to point out that the content shared during Power to Fly events is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice. If you are looking for your SHRM code today to get SHRM credits, here is that SHRM code 25-CCJ7D. I will also pop this in the chat in just a bit, but you can take a screenshot of this and save it for later if you need that. And let me just tell you a little bit more about Power to Fly. We help organizations attract top talent and retain and engage employees with solutions that simplify recruitment, enhance employee satisfaction, and drive long-term business success. We are a 100% woman-led company backed by Morgan Stanley, and happy to tell you more if you need any additional information. But without further ado, I'd love to introduce today's featured speaker, Hunter Lee Canning, who I've had the good fortune to know for many, many years, and who is also hosts many events for us here at Power to Fly. Hunter is allergic to corporate jargon and proud of it. With 2 decades in Hollywood and over 800 virtual events hosted, Hunter delivers no BS keynotes, showing B2B teams how to break free from boring professional presentations. As a queer, neurodiverse founder of Plumwheel, which we'll hear more about in just a second, Hunter has perfected this approach by turning conversations into compelling video campaigns that boost engagement 300% for growing companies and enterprises. So, Hunter, without further ado, actually, before we dive into today's conversation, why don't you tell us a little bit more about Plumwheel, the company that you founded?
Sure. Hey, everybody. I'm Hunter. My pronouns are he, they. Thank you for being here. I can see some folks are already turning on their camera. Ava, nice to see you. Thank you. Anybody else that wants to turn on your camera? Oh, come on, friends. Now Karen's in the house. Hi, Karen. Ren, nice to see you. Anybody else that wants to turn your cameras on, you are welcome, but not pressured. Fully optional. So I'm so glad to see people here because it's as you can see, videos are as easy as chatting with a friend, and it's so much easier for me to talk to a face. So now that I can see a couple people here, I'm instantly lighting up, right? It's so much easier for me to talk to someone. And I realized that that is what other people need too, because everyone says, oh, I don't know what to say on camera. Oh, I get uncomfortable. Oh, this, oh, that. It takes too much time. I'm like, yeah, you do know what to say. You just need someone to talk to. So let me ask you the questions. And from there, that grew into this wonderful company that I have so much gratitude to have made and now have a wonderful team. And we work with companies, enterprises, mid-market size companies as well to do these types of recordings where we talk to people, we ask them their questions that they already know the answers to, that is the direct thing that their customers, their fan base, they want to hear those things. So we would just want to make it easy for everybody. So that way you don't have to show up to a studio and feel like a robot. And you're like, now the lights are on me. I like my company. Like, we've seen enough of those, friends. So let's get the production studio out of our pocket, which is a very powerful device. Any phone now can get us going.
I love that. Well, speaking of asking people questions, I have a bunch of questions for you,
Oh, do you now?
pre-submitted
You do not
from
say.
many of our wonderful registrants. So let's start with the title. So you actually wanted to title this conversation "Why Smartphone Videos Are Crushing $50,000 Productions." And we kind of also called it a reality check on AI, the
Yeah.
two letters that are on everyone's lips right now. So, what sparks this reality check on AI and beyond? And when did you realize the tide had started to turn?
Yeah, totally. And also to my friends in the house, feel free to chime in the chat if you have questions
Hmm.
and you're like, what are you even talking about? Fired in. I would love to hear where you're calling in from. I can see people are all over the place in different parts of the world. So I'm calling in from my parents' house right now in Los Angeles. I'm visiting my mom and dad. So love to hear where you're calling in from. So let me know what's happening, friends. So why are we talking about $50,000 versus pennies on the dollar? And when did I hear the tide change? I think was the question. So for me, like many of us, about 3 years ago when I used ChatGPT and I started typing with it, I was like, oh, this is going to be bigger than the internet. This is everything changes today. The genie's out of the bottle. There's no going back. And I had this huge creative liberation because I was like, oh, I can have a thought partner. I can write new things. I can make things faster. And I also realized there's a lot of things it can't do yet. And that's where the human spark comes in. We're like, oh, I need to bring a good idea, and then it can help me with a good idea. And this continues to get better. Obviously, the systems are getting better. And I think we're getting better at learning how to use them and how to utilize them, where to use them, and where not to use them. Oop, you're muted. See, even after 5 years of doing these digital events, I still want to get a t-shirt that says you're on mute.
I'm sure a lot of people would buy that T-shirt. That is making me think. Actually, just this morning, I was reading in New York Magazine what the late director David Lynch said, which was that he said everyone knows how to use a pencil, right? But it's what you do with that pencil. So everyone has the ability to create. We have that tool, but how do we actually use that tool? That's where I think that those skills are gonna be coming in.
Absolutely. I love that. And also because David Lynch's movies are really weird, that pencil probably went into people's heads and things like
Exactly.
that
Well,
as
he did make a
well.
movie called Eraserhead. So yes,
No,
exactly.
that's true. That's fair. Yeah. And we got
And
some
let's
from Boston in the house, and it's 99 degrees. Hang in there, friends. And New York
yes.
sweltering in the subtropical climate. Yeah. Ugh. Sorry.
Well, let's talk about myths too, because I think this happens at the early stages of a lot of technology, that there's a
Yeah.
lots of kind of myths that are swirling around. So, in your experience, what is the biggest myth companies believe about professional video marketing?
Great question. And I would be really curious to hear what everyone in the house thinks the biggest myths are about AI. So you chime in yours, what you think, like, what does everyone say about AI in your industry? And if you want to give a little context of like what you do, like, oh, I'm in this role and this is what everyone thinks AI can do, but no, they're wrong. Um, for me, I would say the biggest myth in AI and video production, is that what you were asking? Yeah, is more polished means better content, more engagement, better views. I think that is so not the case anymore. Like, let me ask you, Rob, when you see a super, and anyone in the house, when you see a super polished video on your feed, what do? Usually swipe past it, right?
Yeah. Yes, because you think it's
Because
an ad
it,
usually, right? Like
yeah,
the
and
more
it
polished, the
usually
more
is,
it's an
right?
ad.
It stinks of selling. Right? You're just like, commercial, get me to the real stuff, right? Get me to the people that I actually listen to, that I actually trust, that I actually want to hear from. But this super polished thing, there is a time and a place for that, but that is not what we all need to do. And it's not what we all want to see anymore either. So I encourage people to trust what I learned in Hollywood and in Hollywood. Rob said, I spent 20 years in there and I still work in TV here and there. And I worked as an actor. I also worked in directing some things. And when I was doing an acting project on a TV show on CBS, big network, and we're on set, and I was in this scenario with a woman, and she said something, and I couldn't hear her. And my character was a bit prickly, he was allowed to be a little prickly. And so, like, I kind of did this thing where I stumbled and I was trying to fix it, but I kept going, right? And I was like, oh, you never stop, right? You just let it go. That mistake made it onto broadcast television. And that's called the dirty take. And because it's something real happened, something organic happened, something that is believable and unexpected and spontaneous. When those things happen, that's what we want to watch. And that's what's interesting. When I saw it on the big, well, the medium sized screen, but on broadcast television, I was like, oh, that's the real stuff. That's the good stuff. So I think that's what's fun about making content now. You look at you talk to any marketer, you talk to any team, any influencer, they're like, yeah, the video that I made where I looked like hell and didn't put on makeup or
Hmm.
shot it walking down the street, that's the one that hits.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what you said earlier is a good litmus test that we can all do, which is yes, when you do scroll through your phone, what videos are you stopping at? Are you stopping at the ones that are super polished, or are you stopping at the ones that feel more organic and authentic? That's a word I want to talk about more in a bit. But I see Fanny's question in the chat there. Do you see a difference between preferences for polished versus organic content across generations or industries? So are some people maybe leaning more towards that polished and some people more towards the organic?
I think it's an excellent question. The answer is yes. I would say now that every platform is all in on video, including LinkedIn, they have been rolling out short form video, scrollable vertical content. And some people have it, some people don't on the app on their phone, but more than 75+% of people engage with LinkedIn now on the phone as well. So they're going all in on scrollable content. I would say this is a new frontier of that audience, and that base, that user base, businesses, medium-sized businesses, large businesses in the game now. They're like, okay, how do we do this short form video? And I would say the people that are just experimenting, it's doing great. The stuff that I would say, depending on the platform, LinkedIn is kind of this happy medium right now where it's authentic, feels off the cuff, but maybe a little cleaned up, a little tighter, like YouTube, versus TikTok, or especially TikTok, very just like pick up the phone and go, right? Instagram, slightly different audience, different crowd. Again, that one wants to lean towards this authentic vibe, more personal stories, less business focused. So it's really about meeting your audience, meeting your clients where they are. You don't need to be on every single platform.
Yeah,
Why?
in fact, one of the best pieces of advice I ever heard was rather be on all the platforms, do one platform really well.
Good
So maybe
advice.
find what that platform is. And I think so much of it comes down to what is your company's identity and also what is that audience you're reaching. Here at Power to Fly, we work with a very wide array of companies, and some like their events to be a lot more formal, and some can be a lot more loose. I think it comes down to what is inherent in terms of your company's DNA. And then what is that audience you're trying to reach? If you're trying to reach very experienced professionals with 20 plus years of experience, you probably want to go a bit more formal. You're talking to those C suite executive kind of types. If you're trying to target early career talent, maybe new graduates, things like that, then definitely going that super kind of organic route makes sense. So I
100%
think it's all
completely.
about zeroing in there. That kind of brings me to my other question for you, Hunter, because we're hearing a lot about authenticity versus perfection. And I think generative AI has actually brought on a lot of this issues. So why do you think brand marketers, marketing teams, recruiting teams are gravitating towards more quote unquote authentic content over polished productions? And how does this relate to what we can kind of call like the coffee chat approach, right? Like that casualness.
Yeah, yeah. So I think the days of, you would say, spray and pray are over, right? Hitting as many posts as you can in a week. Oh, we need at least 5 to 7, or we're going to fall off the algorithm, or that whole rat race. And also being on every platform, like you said, it's better to be on one well than five poorly. And not only are the platforms changing their algorithms of what is rewarded, it's also we as uh, a society are just craving connection. We're craving relatability. We're craving to be seen. And we get those little endorphin hits when someone actually reaches out to us. A company is actually speaking directly to me. And it's like, oh, yeah, I want to follow that. I want to get in that rabbit hole. And it's because there's real, and this is a buzzword, real value that we're getting from the clips, right? We hear always add value, always add value. What does that really mean, right? If you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one. You have to be really specific of like, this is the ICP, this is the user base. We're going to talk to that one person, not this group of people, because that one person is in a group of people that are like them. But really getting focused in on, we're talking to this one person, and that you get that one connection, they're going to share it, they're going to repost it, they're going to comment on it, right? And that's what is rewarded now. Not consistency is important, it is key. It's not the number one driving force anymore where it used to be. All the platforms are, who's actually engaging? Is it real engagement or is it bot engagement? Is it lazy engagement? Like, yeah, great job, I agree. As opposed to really adding something that you want to say, and that triggers this spider web effect where triggers something in the algorithm, your user base, your audience, your potential clients, they start responding to it, and then that gets rewarded. Oh,
Yeah, I know. I was getting to it. I just couldn't click it fast enough. Yeah, no, I love that. I just did a talk actually just last week about the importance of story, and one of the things that I said in this virtual chat was if it's something that a talent member can read on your website, you probably don't want to spend too much time on that during your event, right? Like the event should be about telling your story. Have X person talk about how they moved from individual contributor to manager. That's something that you really can't read on a website. If it's about your benefits, someone can just go and find that and do the
yeah.
research. So I think it's the same thing here where if it's yes, you want to touch on some of that big information, but really we want to get into that authenticity. Like you're saying, we want to have that kind of one-on-one conversation, even if it's actually one person talking to a bunch of people over Zoom. You want to have that feel of a one-on-one conversation.
Yeah, I completely agree. Knowing what story you want to tell is absolutely key, and personalizing it, right? You don't need the CEO of your company talking about what the company does. That's
Hmm.
just silly, right? Like, why did he start it, or she started,
Yes.
they started? Why are they doing it? What keeps them excited about it? Where did they mess up big time? That
Hmm.
humility,
Exactly.
that's what we want to see, because this, like you said, this perfection that we're all trying to get in this little perfect box. Oh, the post isn't good enough. Done is better than perfect. It is ephemeral. What's the life cycle
Yes.
on those clips? About 4 days on social.
Exactly.
And then they're gone. It's gone. Of post
Yeah.
flops, who cares? Who cares? If nobody saw it, then that means nobody noticed that it was bad. Like,
Hmm.
right? So just, putting ourselves out there and asking the right questions. I like getting into the what connects the story of someone's drive to go to their work, right? I'm working with a team right now, so there's the CEO, there's the head of the the chief financial officer, the head of HR, like they all make the makeup of this company. And the CEO, he's like, I don't know, middle-aged dude, kind of seems like, very dry. And then we got to talking in the discovery, like strategy stage. He is a long distance trekker. He has walked thousands of miles all over the world with his wife. And I'm like, okay, tell me about that story and what
Exactly.
you learn on
Yeah,
the trail and how does that relate to what you bring back to your business?
I
Like,
love that.
and like all his worldview changes and like, talking about you try to go at someone else's pace and that's when you injure yourself. And I'm like, hello, business metaphor, like perfect.
Mhm. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's great advice for everyone. Like, it's look at take a look inside first and see how that affects your business strategy.
Yeah,
That
we didn't just
that's great.
randomly end up at our jobs, right? We
Mhm.
chose
Yeah.
to be here. So why are we here? What is the why, right? We ask that a
Mhm.
lot in whatever industry we're doing. Why are we doing what we're doing? Can be quite existential, so be careful. Why are we here? What's going on? But also, why am I choosing this? And then how does that relate to what I do? That's the thing to talk about. That's what
Yeah,
gets
I love
exciting.
that.
I like connecting with people. I like stories. I like watching people light up. I like seeing people relax into themselves as opposed to being feel like they have to be in a box of someone else. As a queer
Mhm.
kid, neurodiverse, dyslexic, wasn't diagnosed with dyslexia or neurodiversity until I was in my 30s. And when that clicked, it was like, oh, and then anxiety, depression. Oh, all makes so much sense now looking back on my childhood and feeling like I didn't belong. I feel like I had to put on a face for other people. Shocking, I became an actor where I literally got to pretend to be other people for a living, like
Yeah.
those self defense mechanisms. And now, once I had that self awareness, it's as I get more comfortable with myself, I get so much joy out of people being comfortable and trusting and allowing that intimacy, that authenticity with me on a call. That's why I go to work, right? To let people
Mhm.
shine. That's so fun for me. And that gives me so
I
much
love that.
satisfaction. And then they do it. And then surprise, you have great content because you weren't thinking about it. Ta-da, you know?
Well, let's talk about for the next our final 8 minutes together because
Oh
time
boy.
flies by. Let's talk about AI a little more in depth here. Where is AI truly helping with video marketing, and where is it being overhyped?
Totally. Well, a lot in both directions.
Mhm.
Where is it helping? So I would say for me, what I really have noticed and what I'm seeing in the industry is it's taking care of all the stuff that nobody really wants to take care of, right? It's scheduling all the posts, getting that data, putting that back into our strategy, doing the rough cuts on the edits, maybe even putting on some polish, taking care of strategy documents, alignment, questions for to be asking, like all of that prep work and all of that post work is where AI is really helping because now teams of a couple of people, if they're dedicated to it, like most industries with AI, you're now able to do what 10 people could do, right? And if it's just two or three of you. Same thing goes with these processes. Excuse me. So that's where it's really helping. Where I'd say it's and another place it's really helping is now we can create some pretty cool effects and some pretty cool stuff with AI generated video. But it's also it can be a trap, that stuff. And I think that's where it can be overhyped, where that, oh, we can just automate it now, right? And we can just
Mhm.
have ChatGPT write the posts and we'll make something with a video generator and we'll put it out there. But where's the spark? Where's the personal story? Where's the vulnerability? Where's the mistakes, right? Where's this all of that story? It's not there yet. It might get there. It's not there now. And
Mhm.
I love these tools, but I don't think they should replace what makes us special, what makes us fun, which makes us messy.
Yeah, I think everything still 100%, whether you're applying for a job and writing your resume out, or whether you're writing a social post, all that still needs the human touch. But there
Yep.
are so many great tools, and I don't know if Plumwheel is using this. I know there was a tool here we were using at Power to Fly that can actually correct your eye line. So if you're
Oh yeah.
reading from a script,
Yeah.
instead of like my eyes going over here, it's me looking at the camera. And like that, I think is a great tool that it's making it more professional, but it's not taking out of the authenticity of that person as a whole.
Yeah.
It's putting like that fairy dust on it, but it isn't like distorting what the essence of that recording would be.
Yeah, totally. There's so many tools to get you going off the ground, and it's also can feel overwhelming. There's too many tools, right? We're like oversaturated with all these tools. We're in the tool boom right now. And the dust will settle on, the people that will rise and stay afloat will be there. But right now it can be a little oversaturated with tools.
Hmm.
But yeah, like I think you might be referring to, I think the first person that did that was Descript, which is a video editing software. And they're continually plugging in new AI features where there's the eye correct, there's fixing the audio. So if you're using a microphone like this, it just makes it sound a little more studio. It's now helping you throw transitions in. There's a little co-pilot, like a chat GPT kind of interface. Still early days with some of this stuff, and it still does take quite a bit of time. There's a lot of
Sure.
things that save time, but now you're adding all of these features, right? So now if you're adding new bells and whistles, each one of those steps is still going to take a little time.
Hmm. Are there other AI tools or workflows that you all at Plumwheel are using that you want to let everyone know about?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks. So over the past 2, 3 years, I've been building out all these custom workflows to design a system that, because the idea came from being here with you, Rob. I had hosted 300 plus interviews at that point, and I had hours of all these video footage calls, and I was like, this is a pain in the butt to do anything with these videos. It's like, now I got to edit them down and cut them up and then figure out what the story is and write all the posts and schedule all the posts and then that whole thing. So I started to build the thing that I wanted for myself, which was picking up on the tools that were out there. There's, the first kid on the block was like Opus Clips. I think even Power to Fly uses it too.
Yep.
Where you chuck in a long video, it chops it up, and you get some clips, and it does a pretty good job. The thing I thought was missing from it was I didn't get to have any say in why they thought it was a good clip. Does it connect to the larger
Yeah.
strategy that I want? Does it connect to the story that we are trying to tell this month? Is it in alignment with those ideas? So I started to build out some custom workflows that I can be like, let's put in my client strategy. Let's put in the transcripts of everything we've ever talked about, parse all that stuff up, and then the AI can be like, these are the clips that align with those strategies, and then actually makes a rough cut of it. And then the human polish is where we come in, we work on a little bit more, we spit out that, and then we have brand voice workflows that write all the posts along with the strategy, filled with SEO words seamlessly. Sneak it in, and it is in the style of the brand voice, not just ChatGPT, write me a post, right?
Sorry.
Because then you're like, ooh, so many buzzwords and M
Oh,
dashes
yes.
galore, right?
I
Like
think
that
we've
doesn't.
all become very adept at sometimes going, "Oh, I know who wrote that."
Yeah, doesn't pass the sniff check, as I like to say.
No, no.
So I
Well, my
built out
last
this end-to-end thing, and then it takes all the analytics and then it transfers that back into the strategy, and the wheel circles
I
back.
love that. Well,
And
hence the
we're like, yeah, exactly. Then we're
hence the
like, now
name.
we know what to talk to about next, right? And we can use all that information.
I love
Yeah.
that. And my last question before we just wrap up real quick. You were talking about the spray and pray method. That's kind of a thing of the past. So
Yeah.
how can the AI analytics help iterate smarter, faster without losing that authenticity? I'm sure like it can go really into that data now.
Oh yeah, it's wild. It is so wild. There's tools that are out there that you can use. If you ask ChatGPT and have internet search on, I'm sure you can find a bunch. We built our own out, and what I find so helpful about it is, you get all the posts out there and you can track all the analytics, and then you can put all those analytics back into the strategy, kind of like we were talking about a second ago. And that's not a new idea, right? Marketers have been
Mhm.
doing this as long as there's been social posts, but it used to take a lot more parsing of like, okay, let's focus on this, this, and this. But now the AI is in alignment with all of the work you've done in the beginning, the analytics of the posting, and then you can make informed decisions because it's using reasoning that's aligned with your strategy, and you can be like, oh, this is the stuff we should really double down on, this is the stuff that's really working. And it's not just, oh, that post. It's like, oh, this content strategy, this type of edit with this person, oh, it had no music. You can track all of that stuff now, and then it just takes for me the mental load off
Hmm.
trying to keep track of everything with my team. It's just like, here's the one pager of everything we should do. Great. Do I agree with all of it? Not always, right? That's where the human connection and the human spark and our creativity is needs to be in alignment to be like, oh, no, not that one. But these three, yeah, here we go. Yeah.
I love that. Well, thank you. These were so great. And just letting everyone know that here at Power to Fly, we're going to be starting, or this is really the start of what we plan on being a monthly conversation series all about AI with AI thought leaders and tools. So if you liked this conversation, please come back because we will be hosting more of them. And Hunter, since we only scratched the surface of what you and Plumwheel are doing, we will definitely have you back for future conversations and hear about more tools. But in the meantime, where I just see you pop some stuff into the chat there, but where can people find you if they want to hear more about what you're doing and reach out?
Totally. LinkedIn is the best way. I drop my chat, my name there. It's Hunter Canning. I go by Hunter Lee Canning, but the algorithm is kind to me. You can find me in either way. I also put in a booking link if you want to talk about this. There was something that's helpful in there. You can hop on a call with me for 15 minutes if you have any questions about that, uh, whether it's how I could help or just put you in the right direction. I know a lot of other people that are doing a lot of interesting things. I like to play matchmaker sometimes, so that's also totally fine.
Amazing. Well, we will share this recording in the next few days so people can revisit all of Hunter's amazing insights. But until then, thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, Hunter, for all of these great insights. And we will see you all at future Power to Fly events. And yeah, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.